Well, a very good evening to you. Welcome to Filbert Flies. I'm Filbert, and during this afternoon's live stream we're going to be taking another flight in the Airbus A320 NEO in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and we're going to be simulating Lufthansa Flight 915 from London Heathrow to Frankfurt. So as you can see, we are pretty much set up and ready to go. We're parked at the gate, boarding is in progress. So all we need to do is get the baggage on board and set up the flight deck, and then we can be off.
Heathrow ground, Lufthansa 915, could you please send the baggage?
Lufthansa 915 baggage is on the way.
So this is a flight that is operating almost exactly as we are simulating it, so it'll be interesting to see if we get there at a similar time, or if we're beaten to it by the real world flight. So the scheduled time of departure, if you're watching live, is 17:30 local, that's 16:30 Zulu, which is in just under 15 minutes time. So we're parked here at Heathrow Terminal 4, and we are at gate 216. I'll give you a little fly around the aircraft in the drone while the baggage is getting loaded. So currently connected to ground power. And once I've done this, we'll hop on board, get started. Okay. So if we look at the overhead panel, as you'll see, as I said, we're on external power. We've got our nav and logo lights on because the aircraft is powered up, and they should always be on while the aircraft's powered up. Fuel tanks are switched on, batteries are on, and that's all we need for now. So this flight has been planned through SimBrief, and if you have a look at my YouTube channel, Filbert Flies, there's a tutorial there on exactly how you go about planning a flight. And yeah, so that should all be programmed both into Microsoft Flight Simulator for the ATC and also down here. Right. So on the init A page, we've got a cruise flight level of flight level 330 programmed in. Got our flight number and everything set up. All we need is a cost index, and we'll use 20 for that. On the performance page, we've got our V-speeds already calculated. It's got 10,000 feet as the transition altitude. We'll change this to 18,000 because that's what the wrong field, because that is what the flight simulator uses throughout the world. So thrust reduction was set at 1500, which is realistic, and we'll make the acceleration altitude 3,000 feet. We're going to use a flex takeoff temperature of 59 with flaps 1. And we'll go back to our init B page. The zero fuel weight has been calculated for us. Again, in the SimBrief tutorial, I show you how to take the weights that SimBrief generates for you and put them into Microsoft Flight Simulator, and that's what I've done prior to starting this stream. And I also made a note from the weight and balance page of the aircraft menu of the centre of gravity, and that is 25%. So 62.8/25. And the fuel was calculated and set, calculated by SimBrief and set by me in the sim earlier on. Let's have a look at how our baggage is doing. All in, good. So we're actually a little bit early for our departure. It's 16:19 Zulu. So I thought what I might do is give you a little tour of Heathrow Airport. This is the handcrafted edition, the handcrafted airport from the Premium Deluxe edition. So we're at Terminal 2 now. And I'll just speed up the drone a bit, or we'll be here... oh, wrong one. Or we'll be here all day. Having a bit of a thing of clicking the wrong fields in the FMGC. And also sliding the wrong sliders here today. Ah, there we are, that's more like it. Right, so here you have Heathrow Terminal 2. You'll notice that some of the AI planes have the liveries from the livery pack, which is now available for free. I'll put a link to that in the description or the Twitch chat later on, but you can find it pretty easily from the official Microsoft Flight Simulator forums. It's under the aircraft and then airliners category. We've had a very changeable day in London weather-wise. We've had some beautiful clear skies and some very thick cloud, and it's been quite windy as well, although I believe the wind is dying down. So this is all Terminal 3 on our right. And over here you've got the cargo centre, the British Airways World Cargo Hub, which is that building in front of you, unbranded in the sim, but with a big British Airways World Cargo logo on it in real life. And over here we've got Terminal 4. And as I've said before, I'm quite impressed with this airport. I think that the quality of the handcrafted airports does vary slightly, and this is one of the better ones, which is a relief because it's the airport I fly from most often. We'll save Heathrow Terminal 5 for another day, or you can look at either of my previous two videos.
The Lot 279er taxi to General Aviation parking via taxiway Hotel Bravo Charlie. Taxiing to General Aviation parking using taxiway
Right,
Hotel Bravo Charlie.
enough sightseeing. We'll get back on board. We will get our check the ATIS and get our clearance. And get ready for departure.
Heathrow Airport information, India 1600 Zulu. Line 229er at tree 8. Visibility.
It's still quite windy then.
Sky condition. Few clouds at 700 feet. Few clouds at 4,500 feet. Few clouds at 11,600 feet. Temperature 17. Dew point 10. Altimeter 29.53. ILS runway 27 right and ILS runway 27 left in use. Landing and departing runway 27 right and runway 27 left. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact you have India. Heathrow Airport.
Right, so we'll request our clearance now.
Heathrow ground Lufthansa 9er15 ready to copy IFR clearance to Frankfurt.
Lufthansa 9er15 is cleared to Foxtrot Romeo Alpha November Kilo Foxtrot Uniform Romeo Tango Mike Alpha India November Airport is filed. Takeoff runway 27 right climb and maintain 14,000 feet. Departure frequency is 118.475 squawk 0342.
Lufthansa 9er15 cleared to Foxtrot Romeo Alpha November Kilo Foxtrot Uniform Romeo Tango Mike Alpha India November Airport is filed. Takeoff runway 27 right climb and maintain 14,000 feet. Departure on 118.475 squawk 0342.
Lufthansa 9er15 readback is correct. Contact ground on 121.905 when ready to taxi.
You'll notice from the clearance two fairly interesting things. The first thing is the phonetic spelling of Frankfurt Main Airport, which is a little odd, but it seems to do that randomly. And the second thing is the automatic inputting of the squawk code into the transponder. So I don't know why it does that either, really, because I haven't got the co-pilot set to manage comms or anything. But it saves us some typing, I suppose. How are we doing for time? 16:24. Right, I think we can make a move. So we'll get ready for pushback by putting the beacon on. Beacon goes on before the aircraft moves. We'll start up the APU. That takes a little while. There is no APU page on the ECAM display, but I believe someone or a group of people is or are working on a mod which is already out for this A320, and that's one of the features it adds. I think it opens up all of these pages which currently show in-op. So I'll have a look at that at some point. It's certainly a promising step forward. I have a feeling I've forgotten something. So we've checked the flight plan. Well, I checked it before you joined me properly on the navigation display plan mode. We've got our SIDS and stars in. If we go to the departure page, you'll see that we're departing from runway 27 right via the Detling to Foxtrot departure. So no, I don't think I have forgotten anything. Well, we'll soon see, won't we? So, APU bleed on, external power off. And you can hear the bleed air, the air conditioning sounds in the cockpit. Okay. So if we get rid of the jetway, then we can ask for pushback.
Heathrow ground Lufthansa 915, could you please disconnect the jetway from the aircraft?
Thank you kindly. And we'll request pushback. You can use Shift P, but for a bit of variety, we'll do it this way.
Lufthansa 915 pushback request accepted.
And I think today we will start the engines during pushback, as is typical. If you're keen to watch a pushback from outside, you can have a look at my other two videos. So I didn't tell you, I just pushed Control Dot to release the parking brake. And here we go. So, engine mode selector to ignition. And start engine 1. And we're just going to have a straight pushback today because this building site over to our right doesn't give us much room to manoeuvre. And I did check that there was nothing behind us. And we'll stop pushback here. I said we'll stop pushback here. Okay. Ah, there we are. Good. That was a bit worrying for a while, wasn't it? End up in the terminal building opposite. Right. So engine 1 started. That grinding noise you can hear is the PTU, the power transfer unit. I think that stands for. I don't know what it does. I just know that's what it's called. But do feel free to Google it and let me know in the comments. Okay, both engines appear to be stable. So we'll turn the mode selector back to normal. Turn the APU bleed off. Turn the APU off. And turn on our taxi light while we're up here. And now it's time to request taxi clearance.
Heathrow ground Lufthansa 915 with Juliet ready to taxi IFR.
Lufthansa 915 taxi to and hold short of runway 27 right using taxiway Kilo Bravo Lima 21 Alpha Alpha 3 Alpha 2 Alpha 1. Contact tower on 118.705 when ready.
And
I'll hand over the comms to the co-pilot now.
Taxi to and hold short runway 27 right via taxiway Kilo Bravo Lima 21 Alpha Alpha 3 Alpha 2 Alpha 1 Lufthansa 915.
Did I set the parking brake again? Yes, I did. Which is of course what you would do at the end of a pushback, but normally when the ground crew tell you to and not before. Right, so we're going to 27 right, which is the runway that is behind us. So we'll make a left out of here. Quick look at the instructions because I didn't write them down. Via Bravo, okay. Which is, yeah, this inner taxiway here. I'm so not used to having realistic taxi instructions. In previous sims, the taxiways weren't identified properly by ATC. And they weren't signed properly either, often. So I'm very used to just finding my own way. But I'm trying to listen to ATC and do things by the book. So Bravo taxiway goes all the way around the central terminal area. I'm looking at the taxi chart on Navigraph at the moment. So we should be able to follow it round via the next left, I believe. Would it be excessive to buy a bigger, higher resolution monitor to be able to read taxi signs properly? Probably. But I'll certainly add it to the list of reasons to get one. So I must apologise to my YouTube viewers. I've been unable to start the stream on YouTube, so only Twitch people are getting to watch this live. I will, of course, edit and upload a video to YouTube when I have a minute. I don't know quite what's going on. It's something to do with Restream, which allows you to send a stream to both YouTube and Twitch at the same time. And it isn't connecting to YouTube for whatever reason. And being very new to this, I don't have a clue how to fix it. What's our next turn? Was it Lima 21? Yeah, via Lima 21 to Alpha. Okay. Okay, I know where I'm going. Probably. We'll certainly end up at the runway, that's the main thing. So this should be Lima 21 coming up on our right now. Yes, it is. Left onto Alpha, which is the outer taxiway that goes around the central terminals.
Dynasty 81 taxi to parking.
Dynasty 81 taxi to general aviation parking via taxiway Alpha 12 Alpha Echo Bravo Lima.
Taxiing to general aviation parking via taxiway Alpha 12 Alpha Echo Bravo Lima Dynasty 81.
And then the final bit of the ATC instruction, which was Alpha 3, Alpha 2, Alpha 1. Those are 3 separate holding points for runway 27 right. So I guess we can just pick one. Or maybe this is the holding point for all of those mini little taxiways. Not too sure. We'll stop here anyway.
Heathrow Tower Lufthansa 915 ready to go runway 27 right IFR to Foxtrot Romeo Alpha November Kilo Foxtrot Uniform Romeo Tango Mike Alpha India November. Lufthansa 915 cleared for takeoff runway 27 right.
Excellent. No
Cleared
hanging
for
around.
takeoff runway 27 right Lufthansa 915.
Nose light to takeoff. Landing lights on. Runway turn off lights on and strobe on. You may have noticed me sneakily set the flaps to 1+F there. I forgot to do it straight after pushback. Let's pretend there's standing water. I believe if there's standing water, you delay setting the flaps for takeoff. You know me, there's always something I forget. Right, let's do a rolling takeoff then. Stand the throttles up to about 50%, thrust levers rather, engine stable. Up 2 notches to man flex. And away we go. There's V1, rotate. Something else I forgot, turn the flight directors on. Positive rate, gear up.
Lufthansa 915 contact London Center on 118.475. Going to 118.475 Lufthansa 915. London Center Lufthansa 915 is at 1,800 feet climbing 14,000 feet.
Reduce the thrust levers to climb.
Altimeter 29.53.
And I'm still hand flying at this point, just for a change. As we pass the S speed here, we'll set the flaps up. So what I'm doing is just following the flight directors as closely as possible without chasing them. The SID, the standard instrument departure, is not drawn particularly accurately on the nav display. It is a gentle sweeping turn to the left, not an impossible sharp turn with 2 corners in it, according to the charts and physics. Okay, autopilot to on with the Z key. We were cleared to 14,000. I don't know why it stopped climbing at 4. Possibly a restriction in the SID. I'll have a quick look. Yeah, so according to the SID, the Standard Instrument Departure Chart, we should be at Epsom between 4,000 and 6,000 feet. But they cleared us to 14,000, so we don't have to be. Again, I did press G to put my gear up, but it didn't happen. I must get used to checking the gear lights as well as just assuming. Lovely clouds, lovely evening here in London, but certainly much prettier at 9,000 feet than it is on the ground. Bit bumpy. Right, so that's 10,000 feet. We can put a lot of our lights off, landing lights off, runway turn off lights off, and the nose light off.
Lufthansa 915.
Okay, up to flight level 210. I'm having a lot of stutters this evening. I don't know why. I've been doing a lot of reading about SimConnect and the effect that can have. So I've actually uninstalled SimConnect from my computer, which really the only thing I use it for is following my route on Navigraph, but it's not essential. But that hasn't fixed it. Could it be the liveries that I've added? Could it be this Lufthansa livery? I really don't know. But anyway, we're due an update from Microsoft fairly soon, and they will tell us what they're going to fix in the next patch. up to our cruising altitude now of 330. And because we're above the transition altitude of 18,000 feet, we will reset the pressure to standard, which is 29.92 inches of mercury, 1013 hectopascals. So for those of you who don't know, who know even less than I do about pressures, when you are below the transition altitude, you are using a local pressure setting. And every aircraft that is below that level will be using the same thing. When you're above that altitude, you're using a standard setting of 1013. And that is because I believe if you use the standard setting when you were coming into land or when you were taking off, it would give you a much less accurate picture of your height above the ground. In fact, I've got to stop doubting myself so much. That is exactly it. So you want to know, say, that if the airfield elevation is 200 feet and you are at 3,000 feet, that you are actually 3,000 feet above sea level, and the only way you do that is with the local pressure setting. So as you can see, we're coming to the edge of the UK now. We are heading, I believe, to the Dover VOR. And I will tell you a little bit more about our routing today just as soon as I've loaded up Google Earth, which I forgot to do before. Yeah, so once we're out over the ocean, our next thing to look out for will be the French/Belgian coast. We're going to be entering Belgium at a waypoint called Cock, Kilo Oscar Kilo, which is sort of halfway between Dunkirk and Ostend. And then we're going to be tracking east-southeast over Belgium and into Germany, sort of near a place called Nuremberg, not Nuremberg but Nuremberg. We'll be making a left-hand turn to head very slightly north as part of our standard terminal arrival route, and then we'll be heading southeast again as we approach Frankfurt Airport. Total flight time, only about an hour or so today.
Ryanair 1455, descend and maintain 10,000 feet.
Descend and maintain 10,000 feet, Ryanair 1455.
So yes, were it not for the clouds, we'd have a very nice view of Dover, which you can well, you can make out some land just down there, but not a lot else. I'm just having a look at SimBrief, but to see how we're doing compared with the real world flight. But unfortunately their departure has been delayed till 5:49 local time, which was 2 minutes ago, but they are not on the move yet. I'll keep an eye on it during our flight and let you know as and when they depart. So for those of you who haven't come across it, Flight Radar 24 gives you a live map of every flight that's in the air or moving on the ground. It's a really useful resource. You can also search for flights by departure and arrival airport or by flight number, and you can look at the historical data going back quite some time. I think the free tier gives you a month worth of data, but you can pay a very small amount of money and go back even further if you want to. And what I used to do back in the P3D days, and probably will do again once there are more add-on airports, is just have a look at a particular airport, at a particular aircraft, and try and follow their movements. So maybe I'll do a 3 or 4 sector day. Generally won't do all 3 or 4 flights on the one day, but I will. Yeah, I'll come back to it and pick up where I left off. It's good. It gives you a sense of purpose. And there's absolutely no reason that you couldn't do that in Microsoft Flight Simulator. But yeah, I quite like sticking to airports that have decent scenery at the moment. Not that the default airports are dreadful. In fact, I probably will relent and visit some more places in spite of the lack of scenery. And it's not a good habit.
Lufthansa 915. Brussels Center Lufthansa 915 flight level 330.
Lufthansa 915 Brussels Center, continue to Kilo Oscar Kilo as planned.
So we're just approaching the Belgian coast, as you can see. So the weather in Frankfurt at the moment is 23 degrees with a 17 knot wind from the west/southwest. That's from heading 240. So we can expect an arrival onto one of the runway 25s, of which I think there are 3. Let me get the charts sorted out. Yeah, so our planned arrival is runway 25 left. Yeah, and there's also a runway 25 centre and a runway 25 right. Which 25 right looks to be a fairly recent addition. It's built a little distance away from the rest of the airport. There's a similar setup at Amsterdam Schiphol, if I remember rightly. They added a runway that is quite a lengthy taxi away from the terminal. So yeah, should be a cloudless approach into Frankfurt, which will be nice, good visibility.
Brussels Center KLM 16906 is out of flight level tree 65 for 2,000 feet.
KLM 16906 Brussels Center continue as planned.
So I'm just looking where we are on the ND, so we're approaching Ferdy. I'm going to have a quick look at my flight plan to remind myself when we're due to start descending. So our top of descent's marked with 86 miles left to run. In between in between Manov and Ramob, which are both part of our star, which is going to be the Unoko 2 Bravo star, into Frankfurt.
Easy tree 827 descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Wizz Air 2879er contact Amsterdam Center on 119.175.
So I think we'll start planning for our descent at the Unoko waypoint, which will give us just over 100 miles to get everything set up.
Wizz Air 2879er. North Shuttle 179er tree, you are 20,000 feet above your assigned altitude. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Lufthansa 9er 15 traffic is 2 o'clock 4 miles at flight level tree 00 generic. Report them in sight.
Lufthansa 9er 15 have the traffic.
KLM 16906 traffic is 10 o'clock 2 miles at flight level tree 0 Airbus A320 Report them in sight. Easy tree 827, you are 20,000 feet above
I don't see the
your
traffic,
altitude.
but my co-pilot does, so that's all good.
KLM 16906 have the Airbus A320 inside. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Easy tree 827. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. North Shuttle 179er tree.
If you see in the top left corner here of the navigation display, you'll see we've got quite a good strong headwind. So we should be making good progress over the ground. In fact, we are 541 knots ground speed. Not bad. Should be a short flight. No movement on the real world flight still, unfortunately. He was 20 minutes late on the inbound flight, so that could explain it, but he landed at 5:02. So really, shouldn't take an hour to get a plane turned around, should it? I wonder what's going on. Ah, okay, he's live now. He's just taxiing away from Heathrow Terminal 2.
North Shuttle 179er tree contact Amsterdam Center on 119.175.
Going to 119.175 North Shuttle 179er tree.
Beauty 1112, you are 47 miles southwest. Descend and maintain 3,000 feet. Expect ILS Yankee runway 25 right approach via Foxtrot Lima Oscar transition. Cleared to Foxtrot Lima Oscar. KLM 169er 6 contact Amsterdam Center on 119.175. Beauty 1112, descend and maintain 3,000 feet. Descend and maintain 3,000 feet. Expect ILS Yankee runway 25 right approach via Foxtrot Lima Oscar transition. Cleared to Foxtrot Lima Oscar. Beauty 1112. Generic 546, you are 20,000 feet above your assigned altitude. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Easy Tree 827, contact Amsterdam Center on 119.175.
Descend and maintain 10,000 feet, generic 546.
Going to 119.175 Easy Tree 827.
Transavia 6141, you are 20,000 feet above your assigned altitude. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Generic 546, traffic is 2 o'clock 4 miles at flight level 375 generic. Report them in sight.
Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Transavia 6141.
Transavia 6141, traffic is 12 o'clock 2 miles at flight level 390 generic. Report them in sight.
So the real world Lufthansa 915 has just taken off from runway 27 left at Heathrow
6141 traffic inside.
at 17:02 Zulu time.
Generic 546, have the generic in
I
sight.
feel a bit like a I don't know, horse racing commentator or something like that. Anyway, I think it's a safe bet that we will get there before him.
Beauty 1112, you are 27 miles west. Descend and maintain 3,000 feet. Expect ILS Yankee runway 25 left approach via Foxtrot Lima Oscar transition. Cleared to Foxtrot Lima Oscar.
You can't fault that lighting, can you? Slight orange glow on the clouds as the sun's starting to set. A shadow on this side of the plane, and reflection on the other. It's very, very believable.
Beauty 1112, you are 23 miles west. Descend and maintain 3,000 feet. Expect ILS Yankee runway 25 left approach via Foxtrot Lima Oscar transition. Cleared to Foxtrot Lima Oscar.
I was so busy admiring the clouds I didn't catch that. I don't think they were talking to us, were they? No, Beauty 1112. Don't know who they are. So it's very hard with these streams to know when to talk and when to shut up because, you know, I'm a new streamer. I don't have very many people watching me live. Most people watch the flights afterwards on YouTube. And all the advice from Twitch streamers and Redditors and all these other people is that you should talk all the time as if there are hundreds of people watching you. But I get sick of the sound of my own voice. I imagine you might as well if you're watching this, particularly if you're watching it after the event with no interaction. So I think the thing to do probably is to talk during takeoff and landing and shut up and let you enjoy the views during cruise. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll come back to you when it's time to start programming the FMGC for the descent. Right, I think now would be a good point to start setting up for our arrival into Frankfurt. I've looked up the weather, and what we're going to do is plan the arrival for runway 25 left. It'll certainly be one of the 25s that we're landing on, and this seems to be the most likely. Gosh, very turbulent at the moment, isn't it? It'll be the 89 knot wind that's propelling us along, I imagine. Right, anyway, getting distracted. So if we go back to the performance pages and next phase to approach, we need the QNH. I've looked up the META on all METSAT, and the QNH at the moment is 1014. Winds 250 at 14. At 14. The temperature is 23.
Lufthansa 915, descent and maintain flight level 210. Descent and maintain flight level 210, Lufthansa 915.
Okay. We're starting our descent to level 210. Descent mode active. Right, so I just need the transition altitude and the decision height. Transition altitude is 18,000, as always in Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Ryanair 9452 center continue as planned.
And I'm looking at Navigraph charts to get our decision height for runway 25 left.
190 for 10,000 feet. Eurowings 86 center continue as planned.
And so our Cat 1 ILS decision height is 562 feet. Sorry, decision altitude. Decision height is by radar altimeter. MDA is barometric, i.e. the figure that we see here.
Wizz Air 4535 contact Langen center on 118.75.
And you can see that our routing has been updated on the navigation display.
118.75 for Wizz Air 4535.
Eurowings 86, you are 11,900 feet above your assigned altitude. Descent and maintain 10,000 feet. Hansaline 1988, you are 4 miles southeast. Descent and maintain 4,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 2 right approach via Gukko transition. Clear to Gukko. Hansaline 1988, descent and maintain 3,000 feet. Descent and maintain 10,000 feet. Eurowings 86. Descent and maintain 3,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 2 right approach via Gukko transition. Clear to Gukko. Hansaline 1988.
Yes, so I'm just double checking our star so I can get the chart up, and it's UNOC 2 Bravo. Okay, here we are, UNOCO 2 Bravo. Gosh, it's a very complicated approach chart, this. Various different routings, various different stars on the one page. So we are going via CHA, UNOCO 2 Bravo via CHA. mean, we're already halfway through the star. Really, I should have got this chart up earlier. But it's all gone fine, isn't it? Oh dear. So we're actually on the, once we get to CHA, which is Charlie VOR, that is our initial approach fix, and it's essentially a base leg from there to final, as you can see here. So we're going to get to Charlie Hotel Alpha, we're going to make a left turn, and then left straight onto the final for runway 25 left at Frankfurt. Unless, of course, ATC have other ideas, and if they do, then we'll update our plans accordingly. Ah, what a stutterfest. Do you know, day one of this simulator, it ran beautifully smoothly. And since then, it's been very up and down. I've tried various settings. Reducing my graphics settings doesn't get rid of the stutters, because as you can see, most of the time the actual frame rate is acceptably smooth. I'm limiting it to 30 FPS, which is a tip I read on the AvSim forums, in a bid to reduce the stutters, but no joy at the moment. I suspect it happens when we're approaching big cities, and there's probably just a delay loading the scenery in, and that might be to do with server load or something else, but I'm sure they'll sort it out.
You are 20,000 feet above your assigned altitude. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Lufthansa 915, descend and maintain 15,000 feet. Descend and maintain 15,000 feet, Lufthansa 915.
Right, down to 15,000.
Descend and maintain 10,000 feet, EVA 69er.
Lufthansa 915, you are 18 miles west. Descend and maintain flight level 210, expect 4 DME runway 25 left approach via Mike Tango Romeo transition. Cleared to Mike Tango Romeo. Lufthansa 915, climb and maintain flight level 210. Climb and maintain flight level 210, expect 4 DME runway 25 left approach via Mike Tango Romeo transition, cleared to Mike Tango Romeo, Lufthansa 915.
Okay, so what I did there was I heard a different Lufthansa call sign and thought it was us. Not very good. Right, so here they want us to do a VOR DME runway 27 left approach, and I don't know why. I don't know why. Right, let's ask for a 25 left ILS approach via CHA, which is what I programmed in.
Lufthansa 915 would like ILS runway 25 left approach Charlie Hotel Alpha transition. Lufthansa 915, you are 10 miles west. Climb and maintain flight level 220, expect ILS runway 25 left approach via Charlie Hotel Alpha transition. Cleared to Charlie Hotel Alpha.
I don't want to climb and maintain 220 really, but we'll give it a go.
Approach via Charlie Hotel Alpha transition, cleared to Charlie Hotel Alpha, Lufthansa 915.
And the reason I don't is because the approach chart says we should be between 4,000 and 8,000 at Charlie Hotel Alpha. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Serves me right for accepting a descent clearance for someone else, really, isn't it? Let's reduce the range slightly. Why would they want us so high? There's no logic to it. Put our landing system on. We should be within range of the localizer at least by now, I would have thought. No, we're not. On 1.15 on here, and the same on the chart.
Lufthansa 915, descend and maintain 4,000 feet. Descend and maintain 4,000 feet, Lufthansa 915.
Right, so we're going to have to get down to 4,000 feet, pretty sharpish.
South of Foxtrot Romeo Alpha November Kilo Foxtrot Uniform Romeo Tango Mike Alpha India November. Contact Frankfurt Tower on 124.855 when inbound on the approach. Tower on 124.855 Lufthansa 915. Frankfurt Tower Lufthansa 915 10 miles southeast inbound ILS runway 25 left approach.
Lufthansa 915 Frankfurt Tower. Cleared ILS runway 25 left approach. Altimeter 29.96, wind 269 at 30.
Cleared ILS runway 25 left approach Lufthansa 915.
Wind 269er at 30. Oops, next phase. So that's a much stronger wind than what I was expecting. Could be an interesting approach. And when I say stronger than what I was expecting, stronger than what's going on in the, or was going on in the real world when the last META was issued. Right, we're going to use some speed brakes to slow us down and allow us to descend a bit quicker. Our localizer and glide slope are both on display now, and we are really going to struggle to get down, I think. Very difficult to descend fast and decelerate at the same time, so I'm letting it descend first and then we will look at slowing down. So you notice I changed from standard pressure to the local pressure as soon as our descent clearance was issued to an altitude rather than a flight level. That is an option. I think it's probably airline specific, or it might be the pilot's discretion, but I've certainly seen both done. So either set local altimeter settings when cleared to an altitude, or as you're passing the transition level. Okay, so we're just about to pass 10,000 feet. We'll turn our landing lights on and our runway turn-off lights. I'm going to put a little bit more speed brake out because we're very fast. Should be below 250, below 10,000 feet, but we weren't. Exciting, isn't it? Will we make it? Will we have to go around? Declare a missed approach? Who knows? Ooh, I think we're going to be alright. So we'll get rid of the speed brakes now that we're below the glide slope. It seems to me that it slowed our rate of descent as we passed the glide slope. which it shouldn't be doing. I don't know, it might be a coincidence. The A320 is a very interesting plane in real life because you know, you have to understand how it thinks really, and it's even more interesting in Microsoft Flight Simulator because it doesn't really think like the more complex simulations that I'm used to. Ah, brilliant. Well, we're down at 4,000 feet. We're cleared for the approach. Should be able to arm approach mode now, but I've noticed some funny things. Sorry, approach mode up here now. But I've noticed some funny things happening when I've done that in the past, so we'll wait until this starts moving across and then we'll arm it. What we can do though is make sure that approach mode is active down here, and it is. Is it? No. Activate approach mode. There we are. So what that'll do is reduce our speed further to the green dot speed, and that's when we can extend our first stage of flaps. Flaps 1. I didn't mention it, but I did, of course, retract the speed brakes earlier. So we'll arm them. We will now arm the approach mode, because we are turning onto the final approach course. This hasn't started moving yet, but it should do. Glorious evening here in Frankfurt, isn't it? And we'll set speed brake medium. And we'll try and use idle reverse, which is quite hard to set using my setup, which is just a joystick and the keyboard. So I'll just be pressing F2 a little bit and hoping for the best. Glide slope's alive, but the localizer isn't. Or rather, it's showing here localizer, but this hasn't moved across. If we turn this to ILS, we'll see what that's doing. Oh, we are still to the left of it. So maybe, yeah, it's just in the process of capturing it, so that's good. And we've captured the glide slope. Excellent. So DME shows we've just got just over 10 miles left to run. And you can see the airport appearing nicely here. Okay, flaps 2 gear down. And what's our V approach? 159. We've got a 24 knot wind at the moment. And it's coming from the right of the nose. Flaps 3. fact, can we do a flaps 3 landing on this? No. Okay, flaps full it is. One more shot from the drone before we have to concentrate a little more. Nice views. It's Frankfurt. Right, back in the cockpit. And we'll disconnect the autopilot at 1,000 feet.
Lufthansa 915 cleared to land runway 25 left. Wind 269er at 29er. Caution the generic landing runway 25 center.
Cleared to land runway 25 left Lufthansa 915.
So you can see the wind is a little bit, is quite variable in speed, and I think that's why and direction to an extent, and I think that's why the autopilot is struggling to keep us on our approach path a little bit. And if I'm honest with you, I'm not super confident about my own ability to do that either. Okay, let's take over. Autopilot disconnected. We'll leave the auto thrust set. A little bit high.
500. 400.
A little bit low according to the glide slope, not according to the PAPIs,
300.
so we won't correct it too much. And I'm going to shut up now.
200. 100. Frankfurt Tower, Lufthansa 13514 miles east inbound 4D ME runway 25 left approach.
Lufthansa 1351 Frankfurt Tower. Cleared for DME runway 25 left approach. Altimeter 29.95, wind 269er at 29er.
Right, reverse thrust.
Cleared for DME runway 25
60
left
knots.
approach, Lufthansa
Manual braking.
1351.
So what did we think of that? I thought it was, well, it was better than I expected it to be. It was a little bit off the centre line,
Lufthansa 915 exit runway when able.
but it was a relatively smooth touchdown after a little short bit of floating. And I would describe that as not too bad for me.
Lufthansa 915 contact ground on 121.655.
Okay, landing lights off.
121.655 Lufthansa 915.
Taxi light on. Runway turn off lights off. Strobe off. And we'll contact ground because the co-pilot doesn't like doing that. Oh no, do you know what? We won't. We'll ignore that because what we're going to do is taxi to the gate that was used by this same flight yesterday. That's what we're going to do. Start the APU so we've got power when we get onto stand. And we're going to find our own way to the gate, which I wrote on another piece of paper. Bravo 25, Bravo 25. So So if I get my maps up on my iPad while trying to taxi, we should be able to find it. Yep, I've got it. We're going to want to take a left on Mike 14/Lima 9. Should be the next one. I'm going to cross over that parallel runway, and we won't be too far from the gate once we've done that. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the flight. Please do subscribe to my channel. There'll be plenty more like this coming. So yeah, subscribe to my channel on YouTube. Follow me on Twitch. And if you've got any comments, if you'd like to rate the landing, give me any tips or requests for future streams, then feel free to do so. It'd be lovely to hear from you. Tips about reducing stutters would be particularly gratefully received. We can't ask for a runway crossing clearance because we're basically ignoring ATC. But we'll stick the strobe on, so that at least if anyone is coming into land, they can go around. They'll find it easier to spot us and abort the landing. So this taxiway we are entering should be November 5, and our parking position should be on the right. Oh, what is it doing? I wasn't even touching the stick, it just decided to turn right. Maybe it's the wind. Seems a bit excessive, but what does that say? November 5. Brilliant. So we'll be crossing November, and then Stan Bravo 26 should be the first one on our right at this little round thing. Appears to be an aircraft at it. That's alright, we'll find another one close by.
Lufthansa 1351 cleared to land runway 25 left. Wind 269er at 29er.
Cleared to land runway 25 left, Lufthansa 1351.
Yeah, so that aircraft is parked at Bravo 26, just having its catering sorted out. And we'll park at Bravo 25 next door. Taxi, oh, we left the strobe on, naughty naughty. Came up here to turn the taxi light off, so as not to blind the ground crew, who haven't bothered to show up anyway. It's interesting, the yellow taxiway centre line stops before you get to the gate. Well, we'll have to play it by ear. We haven't got a marshaller to tell us how far forward to come, so who needs a line to tell us where to be laterally? Look at that. The whole thing's rotated. I hope there was no one in it when it started doing that. Yeah, there are still some interesting quirks to be found in this sim. Come on, I shouldn't need this much power. That'll do us. Set the parking brake. Turn the APU bleed on. Cut the engines. And let us see if we can get a jetway connection.
Frankfurt ground Lufthansa 915, could you please connect the jetway to the aircraft?
Lufthansa 915, the jetway is going to be connected.
Lovely. Good. Well, welcome to Frankfurt, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed the flight, and I hope to see you again very soon on the next one. As I say, do please subscribe, like, send me any comments that you would like me to see, and ask me anything you would like to. Thanks for coming. Bye bye.